all your life, all your life. Tell me this. What have you suffered as a pattern all your life? What was that pattern of constant self-undoing, self-sabotage, putting yourself through it? What would have been the difference if only you would have had Is there a missing, when you look back at what you were going through at the 12th house, okay, which is your first 29 and a half years, okay, Saturn return, when the 12th house was whooping you. This could be different, you know what I mean, if your life path and heart soul urge number are in reverse. And what I mean by that is, if you have a higher life path number than your heart soul urge number, it could be the reverse. It could be the opposite. All right? However, the reason I'm emphasizing this 12th house is because with Saturn and Neptune, division, and the strategized plan that we're going to put the grit, the muscle, the effort, the consistency, the discipline, the character, accountability. We're going to put all of that into constructing not only the new identity, but the new reality that we realize we're supposed to bring in here through compassion. Through compassion. So listen to me carefully about this. With Neptune and Saturn still in Pisces, this is not something that we're physically putting hands on right now. We're constructing from spirit. I want you to follow me. As long as Neptune and Saturn is in Pisces, we're still constructing in spirit. Everything takes place in the mind first. The imagination, the thought. We're conceiving. So as the stellium moves through Sagittarius and Capricorn, there's a natural reflex to assume, oh, I'm supposed to put action into this, into that, Sagittarius. Okay, I got to start putting the parts together for this infrastructure, Capricorn. No, that's not the case. It's in spirit that these things are supposed to happen. It's in spirit. We are accomplishing these things in the imagination first, in the thoughts. We're conceiving it. And according to Juno, somebody somewhere is helping you to dream. It doesn't mean the person is sitting next to you. It doesn't mean it's your lover or whatever. It doesn't mean that it's someone who wears a title. But the inspiration, the aspiration, the thought, the watering of the thought, the nurturing of the thought, it's coming from somewhere. And maybe not just one person. Or maybe not even a person at all. Okay? But the nurturing of these seeds of thought, it's taken place. This is the time where we're supposed to be using our thoughts, our imagination to change our reality, to exit the false reality, and to enter into the reality that we are claiming. It starts in the imagination first. It starts in a thought first. This is where it's supposed to happen. We're not supposed to get anxiety about how will I get here or how will I get there? How will I do this or how will I do that? We're supposed to dream, become dreamers, become visionaries, recover the ability to visualize, to see a reality, although you're in one reality, to see the reality that you must transcend to, that you must shift to. And the universal powers, it follows the command of your prescription, of your order. You're sending the order in. So you have to send in your order. You can't underestimate the time at hand. You're supposed to be sending in your order, and you send in your order by longing for this experience, believing in this experience, talking about this reality, nurturing it, protecting that vision, watering it, giving it more and more life and more energy, feeling it before you get there, aligning with it, adjusting yourself and everything about you to fit that role that you're going to play in that reality. But it all starts in the imagination. And what is that reality that you are bringing down? What is it that we are conceptualizing? Your chart shows you. It shows you what it is. It's your 12th house. The illumination of your 12th house. That is the portion of heaven that you're bringing down. The illumination. The solution of your 12th house. The illumination of your 12th house. The happy ending of the 12th house. What should have been there that caused you to suffer. Becoming who should have been there, and you wouldn't had to suffer. You're becoming the person who was missing in the early years of your 12th house. You are creating the reality and circumstances, opportunity, or resources that wasn't available to you at your 12th house. That reoccurring theme. At the 12th house, we knew so much fear, guilt, shame, hesitation. We talk so negative to ourselves. And at 12th house, we told ourselves, we agreed that we didn't deserve that reality. We weren't qualified for that reality. We were not worthy for that reality. We agreed with the naysayers. We agreed with the perception of the reality that told us we were not worthy to have that experience. And it's not just about the experience, Sagittarius. It ascends up the hill of Capricorn to live it out. To contain the dream in practical life in order, function, transferring that Sagittarius conviction into the disciplines of life. Capricorn, the disciplines of life. What discipline of life contains the truth that you long to carry? I'll give an example. Early on, for example, early in my life, I've always been a fighter. I've always been fighting all my life. When I was younger, it was physically fighting. All I knew was fighting. Violence. Fist, knife or gun. And something about it had me to romanticize fighting. Like life didn't make sense if I wasn't on a battlefield somewhere. I didn't feel normal if I couldn't stand next to fear and the possibility of death. I couldn't feel normal. That's the Sagittarius conviction that lets me know that that's the truth of me and who I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be a warrior. I am Omo Ogun, son of Ogun. It's my spirit. But that's the Sagittarius portion, but it has to be contained in a discipline, lest it wreck you. Lest you find yourself uncivilized, lest you find yourself savage. So it was my destiny that my older brother was already in the disciplines of martial arts. He started teaching me martial arts. He went to the Marine Corps, and because he wasn't around, I joined, different disciplines. The Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, boxing, grappling. I transferred the warrior spirit into a discipline, Capricorn. So you following me? When we transfer that into a discipline, it rises us to the top of that mountain of Capricorn. And what ends up happening? We realize wisdom from those experiences that we climb with. And the climbing indicates the burdens of discipline. Consistency, perseverance, overcoming, development of character. And you attain wisdom. You attain compassion, understanding, insight, foresight, self-restraint. You understand what strength really means. And you see that there's a transcendent nature to all things. And it gives you a view of Aquarius like a village below that mountain that tells you that because I learned discipline, because I learned character, I have found value and meaning in my conviction to be a warrior. Therefore, if I am to be a warrior looking down from the mountain of Capricorn at Aquarius, let me not war or fight for myself. Let me war and fight for the people. Thus, from Sagittarius, up the mountain, coming down the mountain with something to offer. I offer myself as a warrior for the people. I'm the same fighter, I'm the same warrior, but through discipline, I realize how to be a warrior with wisdom and purpose that does not serve myself, but serves humanity. And if I serve humanity, I am serving Allah. And what this encompasses, or what encompasses this, is the matriarchal source, Cancer. The only perfect intention. Your fifth house can tell you that of what's in your heart, but it's the 12th house that tells you what you had to suffer to know what portion of love is missing in this world. What degree of love is missing? What is your portion of love that you're meant to show up with? That you're meant to bring? How did it affect you not to have that portion of love? What did it do to you? I want you to think about this. When you look at the 12th house, what you'll notice in your maturity, in opportunity of living long enough to no longer be impressed by distractions or self-victimization, things of that nature. What you'll notice is that the 12th house explains to you what is the most meaningful service that you could give back to the people, to your family, to your community, to your nation, to your country, to your demographic, whatever it may be. Your 12th house explains your portion of perfect love and wisdom, your portion of compassion that you're meant to deliver. And we must construct it. We have to find the discipline that contains it. Twelfth house, first house, Pisces Aries. Saturn and Neptune is still in Pisces. So we're clarifying a vision through compassion. I know it sounds like I'm being repetitive, but it's worth it. It's worth it to be repetitive. It's okay to be repetitive. It's worth it. Saturn, Pisces. We're designing it in our head first. We're looking at the necessities in our imagination first. We're seeing the necessities. We're seeing the components. We're seeing the order. We're seeing the math. And what this looks like is it's a draft. We're drafting. We're drawing the concept. We're writing it out. We're having the self-talk. We're sharing ideas with others who should hear your idea. Don't share it with anybody. Don't make that mistake. You're dreaming. You're allowing yourself to become a dreamer. I'm not talking about being a dreamer for yourself. Oh, I always wanted to jump out of a plane, or always wanted to have a nice big house and a picket fence. No, motherfucker. I'm not talking about just selfish ass ideas. Don't turn this into your own selfish, narcissistic fucking ideas. Don't fuck up my shit that I'm explaining. It's not about you. When are we gonna get that? This is about who. This is about the fact, if you claim to be a humanitarian, if you claim to be civilized, there really is a litmus test that we have to check ourselves with. And I said this before. Who do you cry for? And who do you get angry for? Who do you cry for and who do you get angry for? I'll tell you who. Those who remind you of what you yourself suffered from the 12th house. That's who. It's personal. That's who. It's about who you cry for and who you get angry for. That's where the vision is supposed to come from. Because when the vision comes from there, it is already perfected. It is also already promised. It's promised. It's promised to come to pass. It's promised to come into fruition. Why? Because love commanded it from heaven. Your tears and your anger is evidence that heaven consented. It's evidence. When we finally get to the place in life where we get angry for others and we cry for others, that's when we're civilized. That's when we know we are finally standing in the image and likeness of Allah. Don't get sensitive on me. God, whatever you want to call, Most High, Spirit, I don't give a fuck, okay? We are one blood, regardless of the differences that we could talk about. You put fucking kufi on, or you put a cone hat on. You're European, you're Chinese, you're African. I don't give a fuck. We're one fucking blood, okay? You already know. I love to talk about the different things that we got going on in our different demographics. All right? But the truth is, we're one blood and we're on one mission. But we can't be shy to talk about, those different things. But this is all of us. This is a humanity thing I'm talking about here. And that's the point. You know what I mean? So listen, man. Does your vision that you're manifesting through your imagination, the concept of, the infrastructure of, which means you're bringing mathematics to the vision. Capricorn is when you bring mathematics to the vision. It's when you observe the fact that there are limitations to the idea. It's where you observe the fact that there are laws that every idea must submit to if it is to be. Universal laws. Okay? This is where we become disillusioned at the fact that if we are to bring something from the imagination to reality, we have to align it with those laws, works, disciplines that makes it a promise, that makes it a guarantee that yes, this will be, as long as I don't give up, as long as I'm consistent, as long as I'm willing to bring the discipline and accountability. It will happen. And it will also carve my character as I strive for it. And character is destiny. You know what I mean? So what did you go through at that 12th house? That's who you're serving. People who was going through what you was going through. That's part of your why factor. Come on. You have to bring that 12th house into existence in illumination. You came from the 12th house out of the darkness, but you're meant to construct an illumination of that 12th house. Do you understand what I'm saying? Were it not for the darkness, you would not connect to the 12th house through compassion and humility, love, sincerity. That becomes the spirit of the operation, the spirit of the mission, your why factor. That which you remember that causes you to never give up. I have Cancer in the 12th house, right? Some Leo too. And all my life, okay, I've been from community to community among different, methhabs or schools of thought in Muslim societies or communities, I should say specifically. And I've always had a close observation of the nuances in the community that I was born out of. Okay? The so-called black community. And with my father being heavily influenced in his life by Marcus Garvey, he practiced a lot of Marcus Garvey's principles in his service to the community. And I got to help him. I got to see him. Where he went into the slums, he went into the communities in New York and he cleaned it up. He improved it. He got into action. He brought people together. He taught, black pride, to people who was just, indulged in self-hate. He fought against the drugs and the violence. But yet he was one who used to create that in the black community as a pimp and a drug dealer. But under Marcus Garvey principles and Pan-Africanism, that was a mission he was on, improvement of the black community. Malcolm X had the same origins where his father was also a Garveyite in Pan-Africanism. And I can see how the conviction of his father transferred to the son, the same way it did with Malcolm X. Same thing happened to me. But I was fortunate enough, as I stand on the shoulders of my ancestors and my father, to see a universal view, even though those are my roots. I'm not limited by Pan-Africanism. I'm not limited by Afrocentricity and all these different things. I came from that. I came from Islam. I came from, you know, the world of streets and all that other stuff and traditional. It was meant for me to relate, and it was meant for me to absorb the proper nutrients to be able to innovate a new culture that we might need. And here it is. I'm universal now. You know what I mean? You can't trick me with race and all this other nah, nigga. You ain't never gonna pull that over my eyes. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm I'm for all people. And I'm sensitive about those who I realize could be oppressed, disadvantaged, you know what I mean? Or not knowing better. So check it out. Cancer to 12th house early on in life, I realized that, or realized from the Muslim communities that I always gravitated towards, that in the community of my race origin, okay, and culture as an African American, so called, you know what I mean? Y'all know how that go. It had me to realize what was missing. Islam gave me an eye to see what was missing in the black community, what we needed, where we was fucking up, why our men was the way we was and why the women was the way they were. Islam showed me how it could be corrected, how it could be healed. It taught me that. And I not only seen it, but I allowed it to change me so that I didn't have to become like that. I allowed it to change me. And so the 12th house Cancer, it tells me that I am supposed to create community. The community that I knew was supposed to be there. But not just for, you know, any specific people. I have obtained universality. Therefore, community for those of the frequency to cherish it. You know what does your 12th house tell you? Cancer 12th house, you know, for myself, early on, I seen many ways where there wasn't enough compassion, there wasn't enough nurturing, there wasn't enough advocacy, there wasn't enough of the feeling of love until I had glimpses of revelation that showed me that it was there, but it took wisdom to comprehend it. So in those younger years, without comprehending it, it's as if you're loveless. And it's a common experience in the black community. I'm an 80s baby. You know, it's not just a black community, but it's my generation where our parents worked 2 and 3 jobs. It was a first wave of mothers being single at such high percentages and rates. It's where feminism started to go on an upclimb. We're the generations that damn near raised ourselves because the corporate machine grew into its full strength from that point on. We weren't coddled. You know what I mean? We wasn't held and coddled and given, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that we was fucking missing emotionally. You know what I'm saying? And coming full circle, it has us to be those who have insight into how valuable those things are and how to deliver it right where it needs to be, where it needs to be delivered at. Now that could go along with the generations of Pluto, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, possibly too. Well, definitely Scorpio. Yeah, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. You know what I mean? Leo, that was the people who built, big businesses. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the Woodstocks and all of that with the Virgo and, Pluto and, things like that. But, consider the context of your sun, your solar natal placement, right? Like, for example, with my chart, I have sun in the 11th house. And all things that I consider is for community, is for humanity. It's not the third house where, what you're creating is for your, your close-knit community, your own demographic. Nope. Society. Which is why it's important for me to have evolved to universality in all of my convictions. If I had the sun in the third or fourth house, then yeah, it's specifically for black people. You know what I'm saying? But it's the 11th house. That's all people. You know what I mean? That's every fucking body. And it lets me know that the context of what you're constructing, it must remain universal. I'm using myself as an example, you know what I'm saying? Because I want you to look at your chart and see, I don't get to work with everybody behind the scenes. There's a lot of people that I do work with behind the scenes, and it's a difference of night and day, where you could come on here and you could listen to me on here, and you absorb or you get what you get out of it. But it's a whole different ball game when I get to work with you personally behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different ball game, because we got to get some notes. We got to get an understanding. We got to get down to the bottom of it. And I got to connect with you to be able to do that, because it's your heart that's going to let me know, where to meet you at with that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm using myself just to try to, clarify what's happening here. And that is, a revolution is taking place in our imaginations. A coup d'etat is taking place in our imaginations. A rebellion is taking place in our imaginations. We are taking over the kingdom of our minds, the kingdom of our hearts. We're taking it over. And what happens in the mind is inevitable that it gets expressed in your reality. It has to, and nothing can stop it. So intentionally visualize, intentionally do it intentionally. We're supposed to be dreaming. The portion of our vision with the stellium and Capricorn, we're adding the math to these ideas. Man, how much would that cost if I was to do that? Okay, so how many of those would I need? Okay, how much space would that be? What would the timeline of that look like? Okay, how many hands would I have to have on deck? I need support. What talent would have to be involved? These are the things you're supposed to be fucking doing right now. You know what I mean? Not in the corner jacking off, nigga. You're supposed to be taking back your imagination from these lying scumbags in suits and ties in government offices. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. And they never will. They don't have a humanitarian bone in a fucking body. They're here for the filthy, nasty, grubby, rich hands and all the rich buddies, monarchs and oligarchs. And you're not in the party. You're not invited. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of white Christian nationalists at the top and Khazarians. Okay, we all get that. But guess what? Being white don't excuse you. They oppressing your ass too. If you're not rich, you're not in the club, nigga. That go for every race out there. All of y'all. We all in this. You know what I'm saying? So, how are you doing? With your imagination, with your dream state, with your visuals. How are you doing with that? Now, don't misunderstand me and blame it on me and be like, yo, the infamous said I ain't supposed to be constructing nothing right now. I ain't supposed to be doing. I'm just supposed to be dreaming. Nigga, I ain't saying that. I'm not fucking saying that. What I'm saying is, what I do know is that we are co-creating. Okay, we are co-creating. When we're co-creating, okay, this is according to 10, 1 and 0. Okay, that 0 is co-creation with the 1, you. Okay, initiating that which was conceptualized. Okay, now this is not official as a physical manifestation until Neptune and Saturn gets in Aries. You see what I'm saying? That's when it's going to be physical manifestation of these conceptualized thoughts, ideas, and visions. See what I'm saying? However, I'm not saying allow yourself to miss opportunities of that which you can do now, that which you can initiate now. The 1 year, okay, this is the 1 year. Y'all, everybody out there know this is a number one. This is year number 1. Okay, 1 through 9. This is year number 1. It's about initiatives. It's the year of the magic of the magician card. Okay, it's the year of the magician card. Now, the magician card has every element at your disposal. Every element through Pisces, specifically. Every element through Pisces. I said through Pisces. Okay, through. Now, why do I say that? Because a magician card is about creation. Creation on principle of initiation. Creation with Aries, initiation with Capricorn. However, what is this through? By what means? Through what means? Pisces, imagination. Because that's where creation comes from of Aries. It came from Pisces. Initiation's Capricorn. Initiation starts with what? The math, geometry, notes. measures. See what I'm saying? Number 8, energy, logistics. That's what that start with. The tape measure is first. Aries comes after the tape measure. Capricorn is first. It's an initiator. Okay? Capricorn energy's first. You pull the tape. You heard the saying before, measure twice and cut once. Okay? Measure twice, Capricorn. So we're measuring twice right now is what we're doing. We pulling the tape. So that we could cut once and not twice. Aries, the tip of the knife. Come on. You know what I mean? Aries is about bringing from spirit into the laws of physics. You're transferring from essence into subjugation to the laws of physics. See what I'm saying? So, with that being said, Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, it's instigating our imagination. Okay? It's an instigation of our imagination. You may say, how so? Remember, Sagittarius is where we realize a conviction in our spirit. The conviction is always wild, untamed. It's in the wilderness of Sagittarius. It's a centaur. You remember, like I gave you the example early on in my life, okay? I've always been a warrior. Now I know how I just transferred myself as being a warrior physically, okay? And to being a warrior with intelligence, ethereal, okay? I have Mars and the Sun conjunct in Gemini. It's my destiny to transfer. I had to transfer and alchemize that. You know what I'm saying? So the South Node Sagittarius of me, I came from that barbaric, essence. That's where I'm coming from. But I had to ascend to the North Node Gemini. You see what I'm saying? I got to dress it up this time. I got to heal that so that I could rise to the mission. If I don't heal that, I can't fulfill the mission. You see what I'm saying? I got to become civilized. This is the same story with Umar bin Khattab. Who is Umar bin Khattab? Umar bin Khattab is one of the closest companions to Prophet Muhammad. He was a warrior. And when he walked the streets, the kids used to run to the other side. Everybody used to have all these myths about him. You know what I'm saying? He cut people's heads off and all this other stuff. I'm not saying, like I was some, dangerous, straight nigga that everybody should fear and all that. No, I just know that I'm a warrior and I've always been a warrior. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? But Umar bin Khattab, he was a very dangerous man, and he wouldn't hesitate to cut off heads or arms, hands, every, ligament. He didn't play. You know what I'm saying? He walked with death. And upon meeting and learning from and being influenced by Prophet Muhammad, he changed. And he became one of the closest companions, to Prophet Muhammad, and he defended him. He was just, like his personal bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? But, that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is, okay, that Sagittarius energy is where you have an uncivilized conviction about yourself. It's not dressed. It didn't shave. You know what I mean? It don't got a haircut. It don't have trimmed nails. Okay? In Islam, that's called al-fitra. Al-fitra is, to cut your nails, to line up your hair, you know what I'm saying, to apply ointment, to your skin and different things like that. Take pride in yourself, to practice hygiene, you know what I'm saying? beautify yourself, things like that. You know what I mean? Put on cologne, you know, those different things. You know what I mean? It's called fitra. So Sagittarius, this is a truth about yourself that doesn't have fitra. Okay? So you're ashamed of it. See how that works? That's like you still being a brawler, okay? We rewind, and back when you was 19 years old, you know what I'm saying? You was a brawler, or you stole cars, or you know what I'm saying? You was in gangs, you know what I'm saying? Or you used to do all kind of crazy stuff that, you know, that's the centaur, you know, flame of yourself, of that's the true conviction in yourself, lacking illumination, okay? It's the shadow of your impulses, all right? It lacks illumination. Now, what Black Moon Lilith is doing is, as you conceptualize in these last minutes of Neptune and Saturn coming to the cusp of Aries, and as they enter the first degrees of Aries, mind you, Black Moon Lilith will be in Sagittarius for 9 months. So for 9 months, Black Moon Lilith is making sure that as you make that transfer from imagination into initiations, okay, where you're transferring out of the essence into the first initial steps of creation with the Magician card in year 1. I hope y'all listen to what I'm saying, okay? Year 1. Listen, you have to go through the Magician card to transfer from Pisces to Aries. See what I'm saying? What y'all niggas don't understand about that shit. Okay, the Magician card has every element. So just think, what do we have going, you know what I'm saying, from Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn? It's a stellium. It's carrying all the elements of the personal self. All the personal planets, you know what I'm saying, have congregated from Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, the personal planets, the inner planets. You know what I mean? That's a Magician card, nigga. Fuck is you talking about? That's a Magician card. You see what I'm saying? So the Magician card is you having the ability, the power to transfer an impulse from Pisces to Aries, to transfer impulse from the 12th house to the 1st house. That's you realizing and knowing that you have the authority to call an impulse into existence and give it identity, give it image, give it name. You see what I'm saying? This is the same story. Like, for example, when, according to the Quran, okay, Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam, and the angels were already, you know, created. And you know the story of where, you know, obviously many of you understand out there, and you can tell me in the comments if you know, understand this as well, that many fleets of the angels were created on the moon phase, okay, when the moon was created, okay, they was created at that time. There's a lot of violence going on, you know what I'm saying, in this universe at that time. And so in the Holy Quran, this is recited, where Allah said, I'm going to create a vicegerent in the earth, which means a successor in his place. He was referring to Adam, okay, which is the principle of the prototype of man that we are today. You understand what I'm saying? And so the angels, they said, "O Allah, will you create one who will wreak havoc and spread violence and bloodshed in the earth like they did before?" See what I'm saying? Okay? So somebody was here, you know, being very violent and dangerous in the earth. And Allah said, I know what ye know not. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, when Allah created Adam, he first asked the angels, he said, look into the universe and tell me. Look into the universe and look into the earth and tell me, what are these? Name these things if you are truthful. That's what Allah said. He said, name these things if you are truthful. And the angel said back to him, "Praise be to you, Allah. We know nothing except for what you have taught us." And so then Allah, okay. So Allah turned to Adam and he told Adam, he said, "Name these things if you're truthful." And Adam was able to name all things. You see what I'm saying? Adam was able to name all things. So, angels are forces prior to the laws of physics. All right? It is influential energies. Okay? Influential energies of illumination. Illumination causes creation and algorithms to reflect the image of Allah, which is consistent with compassion, love, truth, and justice. Okay? Without illumination, it lacks these things. It lacks these qualities. All right? And beauty is another one. Now, having said that, Orishas, or forces of nature, they are between angels and man. Okay? They are between angels and man. So after angels are Orishas, and Orishas are the ones who transfer essence into subjection to laws of physics. And they work through assigning work to elementals. Okay? Orishas represent elemental forces. Okay? That work with consciousness to cause form and specified algorithms of energy to produce an intentional outcome that reflects one or all of the 12 dominions or zodiac signs and energies. Okay? Each Orisha culminates an archetypal reflection of each planet and asteroid, singularly and in combination. Now, having said that, Adam named all things. What does it take to name something? You have to know the nature of it. You have to know the value of it. You have to know the aim of it. Without knowing the nature of something, you can't name it. It also has to have descriptive form. Angels are realities of formlessness. They are prior to form. Adam culminates both formlessness and form, as he is a being of spirit and flesh, just like us, obviously. So it's about having the ability to name things. When you have planets in the 12th house, you have to evolve to the level where you're able to name the energy that's influencing you from your subconscious. If you can name it, it no longer has authority over you unless you give it authority. Anything you can name, you can have authority over. Because as Allah said, you were to have dominion over all in the earth. And that begins with you being able to name things. Oh, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. Well, what are you going through? Oh, I don't know. I can't explain it. I'm just feeling like, I don't know. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. How can you help yourself if you can't sit the fuck down and reflect long enough to be able to name it? How can somebody help you and you can't name what the fuck you're feeling? Are you angry? I don't know. Are you sad? I don't know, man. Shoot, man. I don't even know. Are you happy? Man, shoot, I don't even know, man. I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling. You get what I'm saying? It starts with you being able to name things. I'm all over the place with this magician card, but anyway, naming things. 12th house in Pisces impulses. It's about understanding the essence that's the impulse that's being expressed when it comes to a planet. When it comes to aspects, if they are positive, such as trine or sextile, these are angelic suggestions by which you can find a route to subject the impulse to the image of Allah in your character or through your opportunity. Understand? Okay? So when it's just a sign, it's a particular state of consciousness or algorithm of consciousness that you have to learn to give illumination to constructively, you know? But the year one is about naming things, identifying, identifying what's in your imagination that needs to be transferred into a meaningful identity, reality, and mission. You see what I'm saying? And realizing that there is meaning in the suffering behind you. Okay? Now I'm all over the place, but I believe I was at Black Moon Lilith. I admit, you know what I'm saying, I might be taking you for a little loop on this, so I really hope, I'm not confusing nobody. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not confusing you, if I'm doing a good job with this, you know what I'm saying, give me a little encouragement in the comment section. Let me know that I'm not chopping this up. I don't know. So anyway, Black Moon Lilith, Sagittarius. Black Moon Lilith wants to do is to get you to not observe the undressed truth of yourself with shame, because it's valuable. Instead, Black Moon Lilith wants you to take that up the mountain of Capricorn and give it character and subject it to a form of discipline that's going to put it into service. You see what I'm saying? So if you like stealing cars, that's the Black Moon Lilith Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying, flame of truth in you that's saying, you like to take chances, you like the, speeding cars and all these other different things or whatever, And so you find the discipline to put that into. So maybe you will become, maybe you will start a business in get an EMT. Maybe you'll get an EMT truck and you'll start your own business and and hire some emergency responders, and you'll drive an EMT truck or something. You know what I'm saying? Where you could transfer that energy, constructively. I'm just throwing ideas out there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you live a certain lifestyle, behind you where you've gone through a lot, you've seen a lot, and you realize, you really want to turn around, but, it's something about you that when you were in that lifestyle, you may have romanticized it a lot and glorified it a lot, and you really want to do a turnaround. So you find a way to subject it to discipline. So maybe you become a rapper and you just take all them stories and experiences and you put it into a discipline of arts, of writing music, or a book, or make movies, or something like that. You may have had, a habit with spending a lot of money on clothes and, fashion and things. And you always was, blowing money, wasting money, going in debt, and how you just gotta, look fly all the time and show up here, show up there. But then, occurred to you, you're going to subject it to a discipline. Like, you know what? I'm going to make my own label. I'm going to make my own label. I'm going to start making clothes. You know what I'm saying? Because this is just what I do. And I'm going to go to different events, you know what I'm saying? And stuff like, you're finding the discipline to subject the wild impulse to, so that it becomes serviceable to humanity at Aquarius. Okay, so I know you all get that. And what Black Moon Lilith is doing is, Black Moon Lilith wants you to hold on to that expression of yourself that's a wild nature that people might criticize or judge or make you feel ashamed about. Black Moon Lilith is like, no, don't do that. That's the value. That's the flame. That's the fire that has to burn in the inner core of what you're creating. So don't you dare be ashamed of that. You need that. What are you doing? I need you to subject it to a discipline. I need you to transfer it to a discipline. What is the discipline that's going to honor that Sagittarius flame? You know what I'm saying? Find a match for the proper discipline. When you subject it to a proper discipline, essentially what you're doing is you're naming it. You see what I'm saying? You're naming it. All right? You're doing what Adam did and you're naming it. Understand? So, anyway, I just want us to concentrate on that tonight. I'm not even going to go into, something else. This can really be a deep dive when it comes to the combination of observing your North Node, your life path, your heart soul urge, your demographic, your nationality, okay? Listen, man, I'm here to tell all y'all niggas, okay, that there is importance to the fact that you are what you are, okay? And I'm trying to show y'all that, you don't have to be ashamed or shy about seeing and knowing what you see and know. And that's why I talk the way I talk. You know what I'm saying? What do I mean by that is, there's a reason why you are Japanese. There's a reason why you white. There's a reason why you black. There's a reason why you Puerto Rican, Dominican. There's a reason why you Indian, Polish, whatever. There's a reason, okay? And you have a mission to your demographic. You have a mission to your community. You have a mission to your society. But don't forget that we all have a collective universal mission as well. You see what I'm saying? There's levels to all of it. And we doing all of this at the same time. It might seem like a lot, but it's a natural stride once we embrace our sincerity, because sincerity fills in all the gaps. You see what I'm saying? You can't miss with sincerity. You can't miss. You know what I mean? So anyway, with me mentioning Cancer in opposition to this Capricorn stellium, you're pulling the tape, you're measuring, you're getting the math, you're getting the numbers, you're visualizing. The opposition of the Capricorn stellium to Cancer, Jupiter expansion, it's having you to consider these numbers and how it will fit in your demographic, and how it will fit in your community, and how it will fit in the legacy of your ancestors. Okay? where you came from, of the fourth and third house, your peoples, you know what I'm saying? Your nation, your country, you know, okay? It goes to all of those layers. So, after all, that is the only way to arrive at Aquarius, because Aquarius is the people. But nigga, what fucking people? You see what I'm saying? Your people that you have specific emotional connection and attachment to in order to transfer compassion deeply and intimately. You see what I'm saying? It's who you have intimate connection to. And you have intimate connection to those who you cry with. That's who you have intimate connection with. Who you cried with and who you fought with and who you loved. You see what I'm saying? That's your peoples. For many of us, this could extend to, you know, to several worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like myself. You know what I mean? Because I've always come from many worlds of many, you know, peoples and backgrounds and demographics and cultures and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I have the sun at the 11th house. You know what I mean? But anyway. I want us to be able to apply everything that we going over. If you can't apply it and put it into practice, I'm wasting your fucking time and you wasting your fucking time. You know what I'm saying? Put it into practice. Fucking do it. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Put it into practice. And don't do everything by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Get a study buddy. You know what I mean? Stop jacking off in the corner by yourself. Come on, fuck is you doing?